Good morning or good evening, everyone. It's Donald again. It is late Sunday or early Monday. The logo I have states it's March 16th, Monday, just for differentiation. Giving everyone an update on my Sunday, or if you want to call it day 2 of a self-quarantine. Though I don't know if I want to call it a self-quarantine per se, but we'll talk more about it as we go along. I guess we'll just talk about how Sunday went. A few things to kind of talk about. As I recorded the message last night, it was rather late, and I actually had taken a nap during the early evening on Saturday night. So it was a little tough to sleep. So after I recorded the message last night, I actually didn't sleep for a while. So by the time I woke up this morning, it was fairly late. One of my friends had called me early in the morning, but I wasn't awake to pick up the call. So I called my friend back, and we actually ended up talking for a few hours, which was fine because I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do during the day. But my friend was basically at home. They were taking care of some family stuff at home, but their other family members are also out of the house, so it was good to keep each other occupied for a little bit until their family came back. And we talked about a lot of things because they work in the same industry as I do, in a sales-oriented thing. So we talked about job situations, sales type things, family. We have some mutual friends, and we talked a lot about different things like that. And it was good just to spend a lot of time with the friend. We don't get a chance to do it all the time because they're busy with their family. But since we had some spare time, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, I ended up talking to him for a long time. And one of the things we ended up talking about was an interesting job thing that came up. So most likely it was due to my podcast of last night. I mentioned obviously I've been unemployed for a while, so an ex-coworker / friend of mine may have listened to this message and sent me a message on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, can you go look? Why don't you want to look at this job that from the company that he's currently at?" He had left my prior company a few years ago and been there for maybe 2.5, 3 years, and I actually had seen the job, but I didn't know if I wanted to look at it. So it's funny how things kind of work out because I looked at the job, wasn't sure I wanted to apply. As I was talking to my friend for a few hours today, I mentioned that this particular job that my ex-coworker sent along, and she and my friend mentioned that they had considered that company for a while and thought it would be a good fit from a company perspective. From a job perspective, it may be a little bit different than what I've been doing for the last few years from the job I got laid off from. So we shall see. There's some questions I have, which I pinged my ex-coworker. I sent him a message. They're in the East Coast now, so I don't know if he saw it. So maybe we'll talk it through and see how things go. Plus, with all the virus things going on, I don't know how the hiring process is going to go. So we'll wait and see how things proceed. But, hey, at this point, like I mentioned in the last message, any job, if it comes along, I'll consider it just because, things are, they're not tight. Like I said, personally, I have a cushion I can work off of in the short term. But, with the unknowns of the virus thing, I'm going to take any opportunity I can to talk to any company and see what they have to offer. If it sounds somewhat interesting, I will gladly consider it and see where it goes. And if it's slightly different than what I've done in the past, that's okay. Maybe it's always good to get a change. So that also leads into another discussion that I was talking to my friend about, which was I wrote in my agenda here, the backup plan to the backup plan. So let me kind of explain, and I mentioned it maybe yesterday. For the longest time, I've done basketball officiating. You can call it sports officiating too, but I did start with basketball first, though I've added volleyball in the last few years. But from a sports officiating standpoint, I've done that for a long time. I started maybe while I was in college. I've done it for some 20 some odd years. And I'm actually, to be perfectly honest, my officiating is a nice hobby. I enjoy it. I mentioned it on the last message that it's a good exercise, gets me out socially. I talk to a lot of people that I know, whether it's the fellow referees or coaches, gym directors, And, to be honest, the money's a nice bonus. It's not purely for the money, because if it was for the money only, I probably wouldn't do it. We all take a lot of crap as officials. There's this whole situation going on in amateur sports officiating where we're short numbers across the board, and officials who, like me and others in my referee groups that I work with, are pressed to do more games just because our numbers are somewhat short at this time. So I actually enjoy it, to be perfectly honest. And like I said, the money is a nice bonus. And that became apparent many years ago when I first got laid off. And I've been laid off a few different times, even including this most recent one in the last few months. So I've always looked at officiating as a backup income to a job if I don't have one. And I don't, like I said, I love officiating. I do it anyway, even if I wasn't working. So it was a perfect thing. I like to do it. I get a little bit of money. I put that money away, some of it away for a rainy day fund, just in case I need it. And that's a plus. Well, little did I expect that, on March 16th, 2020, I'd be talking that backup plan, my officiating, which has been very steady for the many years I've done, well, it's basically not there. Everyone knows why, right? All the sports officiating, not just the pros, but all the amateur stuff, high school, kids, adult leagues, are mostly canceled, or probably all canceled. And there goes your backup plan. So among the things I've talked about to my friend today was like, well, I better think about a backup plan to the backup plan. Don't really have one at this point. I have to think about what I would do if officiating were to go away, just in case in the future. And hopefully I have a job at some point. Then I don't have to worry about it. But, should job go away, officiating go away, what am I going to do? And that led to some discussion with my friend. Like I said, they're in sales, I'm in sales. So, we've done, these jobs are somewhat career jobs. And we talked about, hey, what kind of job would I be willing to do? We tossed around ideas of working at Costco, or someone pinged me that I forgot to ping back that they had job openings at their company. I even brought up the point, hey, I used to work at McDonald's when I was in college. Actually, around the same time maybe I started officiating, maybe a little bit after. I worked at McDonald's way back in the day for, very minimum wage. I mean, we're talking under $5 an hour minimum wage back in the day. That if need be, I don't have an ego where I say I'm not going to do such a low-level job. I said, man, if I need a job, I'll be willing to go anyone that's willing to hire me. So would that be the backup plan? Don't know, but that's something we definitely talked about. And from a Costco and those other things that some people threw out at me in the last couple of days, I'm like, I'll consider it if I need to. At this moment, I have a little bit of cushion to think about what I want to do for a career job, so I'm probably going to pursue that. Of course, everything's on hold from the perspective due to the virus. I mean, I think some interviews may go on. I don't know. So, again, like I said in yesterday's message, it's a bit up in the air. But I'm still going to kind of pursue some things and see where land takes me. So we'll see how that goes. On a better front, I mentioned I didn't know what I was going to do most of the day, and then I ended up talking to my friend for a while. I was thinking whether I should go to the mall or not. It sounds like at least the local malls out here are still open. I decided while I was talking to my friend to just go outside, and since I had a wireless headset, to just take a quick walk. I walked about 10-15 minutes while talking to my friend, and then I came back to the house. We kept talking for a while until we finished up. And then a little bit later in the day, after chilling at home for a little bit, eating a late lunch, I decided to just go walk again for another 10-15 minutes just to get some air. And it felt good, to be perfectly honest, right? I sometimes walk in the mall, but, you're walking inside, and sometimes the air is a little stale, and there is something to be said to go outside and get some fresh air. So while I didn't push myself particularly strenuously today, it was good to just get outside and get some air. This self-quarantine today was, sort of planned, sort of unplanned. I'm going to start thinking about what I will spend most of my time at home over the next few weeks, or should I go to the mall? I may hit the mall every now and then just to change up the routine. But in reading a lot about the stuff online, I've seen people on Facebook, some of my friends, who are very emphatic that we should self-quarantine. On the other hand, while I was at the mall on Saturday, even at the stores on Friday, there's a lot of people still congregating together a lot, whether you're in line buying stuff or people just hanging out. And things are starting to, if you've seen in the news, there's a lot of people who are, or the governor, the disease control folks, everybody are emphasizing that we should socially distance ourselves from others. I'm not sure everyone's following, so kind of a catch-22 for me, but I'm okay. After today, I'm okay with doing it, as long as I do need to get outside for myself. I just hate being cooped up at home, so I will get out. Fortunately, my neighborhood's fairly quiet, so I can walk around, and since school's probably going to be out, I can probably walk. I don't like walking across too many streets and dealing with traffic and waiting around, so I generally try to find a nice exercise path that can just give me a nice straight line that I can go down and come back, unless I want to drive to like a walking trail somewhere, which I could probably do, but depends on the weather the next few days. Rain will make it difficult, especially on some walking trails. So I may, if it's not raining too much, I may just walk in the neighborhood. If it is raining, I may end up in the mall for a little while. And that's the other thing also that me and my friend talked about, was whether I should go eat at the mall. I did that on Saturday a little bit. I don't mind doing it. I was sitting by myself, and it wasn't that many people there at the food court. So I'll think about it and see how it goes. It's an interesting situation we all have to deal with, right? Right, because, we're being told not to socialize too much, yet there's still a lot of people there. So you kind of have to play it safe if you want. For some people, they may play it safe. Some people may not care. But, as it's getting interesting, guys. Italy and Spain are not doing well. And don't know if that's related to people not socially distancing themselves. But, hopefully the U.S. will not get into that situation where we're forced to be quarantined away. But as another friend asked me yesterday, or maybe this morning, they're like, hey, what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to get better or get worse? Honestly, I don't think any of us have a good answer at this point. But all we can do is just hope for the best. Besides that, from an exercise perspective, as I mentioned, I went out to walk a little bit, nothing too strenuous. I actually, and this was already done way before, but I guess I'm glad I did it. A while ago, my dad was cleaning up his house, and I still had a Nintendo Wii lying around. I haven't used it in a few years, but I still had it around. I said, well, don't know what I'm going to do with it, but let me bring it over to my house. So I brought it over, had it plugged into my TV on the AV connections, and, there's some use for it. You know why? I never paid for it. It was actually something I won from our basketball league many years ago. But I actually still like Wii Sports. I still have the game. And I have the controller. And guess what? Wii Sports is not exactly like going to stress you out or work you out like crazy. But Wii Sports is a nice, fun little thing that you can do. Move your arms a little bit. Pretend you're playing baseball or bowl or golf. And get a little bit of exercise. So I did that for a few minutes after I did my 2 walks today. So I worked on the Wii a little bit. And, hey, breaks the monotony, to be perfectly honest, man. So, at this point, if you're at home, there's going to be a lot of different things we're going to be doing. I started working on a video. I doing some other side stuff. I'm considering looking at also reading some books. But, now if there's a chance for you to learn something, I guess this is the time to do it. So I have a lot of different options I'm going to go by. Some things I want to do maybe the next week or so while I figure out, hey, if job stop's not going anywhere, I might as well learn something and hopefully help me at whatever job I do end up getting. So a lot of things going on there. And lastly, it's not on the agenda, but I thought about it that I forgot to mention. I mentioned I was obviously talking to friends on the phone yesterday and today. I text people, a few friends. I got a whole bunch of friends I texted just to say hi. And some of us are text chatting back and forth. And hey, I don't know how people feel about it. Some people are married and have kids. Some people maybe living with boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe have family at home. Hey, that's great. I got dad, so me and dad can talk a little bit. But, it's always good to touch base with other folks. So while social media has its minuses, if you spend too much time on it on a negative basis, time to take advantage of social media if you want to just send a message to some folks and chat with them. I do that with a small group of people that I've never really met. So I talk to some people every now and then, text some other friends, and of course I have friends I can call and talk to if I need to. So at this time and space where you may be socially isolated away, even if you have family in the house, you see them all day long, it can probably get annoying, a little claustrophobic, right? Just keep in mind, go talk to other people. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, let me know. Find me on Facebook. If you got my number, send me a text. It's cool. I can chat with you. Hell, I probably can use it too. That's why I'll talk to a few different people throughout the day. So I'm open to it. Just let me know, man. In any case, hope everyone's well. U.S. is not on an official lockdown, but we may be getting toward that. So let's be strong and hope things go well for the best. Drop me comments on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about. And if there's anything interesting, I will catch up with everyone tomorrow. Have a great Monday. And I will, if I post another video, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care now.